Let's now look at the sunnahs. Now, the first sunnah is one of the greatest sunnahs, and that is suhoor. And suhoor is something that the Prophet ﷺ established as a mercy for the believer. It was really established by Allah in the Quran as a mercy to the believers, because the original day of fasting was from Isha. You had to stop eating all the way to the next Maghrib, right? So you had to fast a lot more than what we fast. Then people were fainting, and then Allah came down with the dispensation that we may eat all the way up till the first light. And that's the blessing of suhoor. Now, suhoor, you're getting up 30, 40 minutes, maybe an hour before Fajr, and you're having a pre-dawn meal. And it is also recommended that a person stop about 15 minutes before Fajr, so that they can do some prayer, some ibadah. And this is a lost sunnah, really. People eating right to the last minute, this is not good. There's something called imsak, which means to withhold from eating. All right, when do we withhold from eating? We withhold from eating about, like, is it 15, 20? As the Prophet said in a hadith, the time it would take you to read 50 ayahs of Quran, which is maybe 10, 15 minutes, right? So, therefore, you could take advantage of the dua, right? You want to spend this 30 amazing days of acceptance of dua. Now, if you're up at this hour, which we call the tahajjud, the sahar, the last sahar is the time, the last slice of night before the day, the first light. That time period is so sacred year-round for the acceptance of prayers. It's multiplied now in the month of Ramadan. Okay, so you can imagine. So why waste that eating so much and then risking maybe eating into the time for a fetch, right? So that's a problem. So we don't want to go there. So observe imsak in your suhoor. Secondly, the dua before breaking the fast. This is a gift, another sacred gift that Allah has given us. If I was to give you, a gift card, Amazon gift card, as a present, and I see you sort of just like you forgot it at the masjid, right? And I'm like, hey, bro, you forgot that gift I gave you. It's not really a big deal. How offensive is that? Allah has given you a gift. He's accepting your prayers at suhoor, and then right before breaking the fast. So respect this gift, take it seriously, and think and contemplate well in advance what is it that you're going to say in those periods of time. When you have an audience in front of a king, you rehearse, you ask the ministers, what do I say? What is he like? Right? What words could I say that make him happy, make him pleased? So likewise, there are certain things. Prayer for your parents, prayer for the weak Muslims, prayer for religious guidance. Allah loves these things. Then when you have asked those, you've softened the matter, your path. Now you can ask for what your heart desires. Okay, because there's what your mind knows is good and what your heart wants. The two things are different, right? Your heart knows that we should be asking for, dua for people who are more in need of us and for our own religious guidance. Allah loves this. We should make salah on His messenger. Now our heart truly desires something else. So we must put first what our mind knows is right, and then what our heart seeks and desires. Taraweeh, and there's a whole slide on that, but Taraweeh is just any amount of extra prayers after Isha counts as Taraweeh. That's the summary of it. And the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever prays Taraweeh the entire month, his sins are forgiven. I'tikaf, there's also another slide on that. I'tikaf is when you're fasting in the Ramadan or outside of Ramadan, you go to a masjid really for any period of the night, but preferably from Maghrib on one day, before Maghrib on one day, until Maghrib the next day, to do some i'tikaf. That's i'tikaf. And the best of i'tikaf is the last 10 nights. Now, I know that we're recording this in 2021, and there's the COVID situation, so probably no masajid will be open for i'tikaf, but nonetheless, in the future they will be, bi'idhnillah, and this is we'll cover how to do i'tikaf in a later slide. But that's a summary of what i'tikaf is. It's not resting at home at nighttime when most people, eating, sitting with their husband or wife, okay, and relaxing and recharging. But no, i'tikaf is now spending all that night in the mosque. And even if you spend a little bit portion of the night, as long as you know, the last part of the night until Fajr, you still have caught it. But nonetheless, the common practice is from Maghrib one day until Maghrib the next day. That's one day. And the best of all i'tikaf is all of the last 10 nights. Not delaying breaking the fast. So, and this is the one sunnah that everyone is very good at. When Maghrib comes in, that we break our fast. Now, I'm going to tell you one thing though. These apps that we utilize, I am telling you, and I have been told many, many, many times, they're not always right. So I would wait 5 minutes from when the app tells me that Maghrib is in. I always add 5 minutes. I always tell my kids we're adding 5 minutes, and that way we're 100%, sure. Because I think the error is not going to be more than 5 minutes. The percent error, the margin of error, I should say. Seeking Laylatul Qadr. Laylatul Qadr is an amazing night. The Prophet ﷺ said the sign of Laylatul Qadr is that you wake up the next morning and the sky is completely clear and the sun comes up without rays. So when the sun rises, like a complete circle, right? Like a perfect circle, right? There are no rays out of it when the sun rises. Laylatul Qadr is one of the things that Allah has hid. And He's hid it in one of the nights of Ramadan. And then He narrowed it down for us the last 10 nights. Narrowed it down for us even more. The odd days of the last 10 nights, or the odd nights, I should say, of the last 10. And then some people have really hoped that it's the 27th. So if we are going to take advantage of it, we're really going to take advantage of all the last 10 nights. Okay? Because sometimes our even day is another city's odd day. Right? Because back in the olden days, you could be in Damascus in the beginning of Ramadan and you started Ramadan on Monday. Well, in the middle of Ramadan, you traveled, let's say, to Jerusalem. Well, there weren't phones back in the day. You go to Jerusalem, well, they started their fast on Tuesday. So the odd nights are different for both groups. So for us, smarter, take advantage of all 10. Giving life to the night of Eid. So this is something that many people don't realize, that there are 4 sacred nights in which dua is accepted. They are the middle of Sha'ban, Nisf Sha'ban, Laylatul Qadr, and the 2 nights of Eid. These nights, some worship between Fajr and Isha, and dua before Fajr on these nights is extremely special. You can't imagine how special they are. Okay, the dua in them is accepted. Right? When we say accepted, we mean accepted. Full confidence that Allah accepts those du'as.